everyone. Hi, Josh from Smith, Young Collins, Petra from Italy, Vietnam. My name is South Africa. Cynthia. Hi, Cynthia. How are you? Jonathan. Well, he's our committee member. Carla from Portugal. From Iceland, Brazil. We have people from everywhere. That's so nice. From Lenguas Vivas in Buenos Aires. Hi, Diana, Indonesia.
Fantastic to see so many. Perhaps, how about another quick question for the chat? Is this your first ever attendance at a LAMSIG event? So first, or maybe you've been to loads? Quick in the chat. That'd be interesting to see as well.
Yes, first one. Jennifer, Philomena, no. Philomena has already
Nope.
attended one of ours. Her second.
What?
Spain, from Spain. First.
Super. Fantastic.
Great to see so many people here.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I'm just going to jump in for a moment before we properly get started. Thanks, Özlem, for kicking things off. My name's Josh Round. I'm the co-coordinator for the SIG, along with Barbara Craig. Barb's in Adelaide, so that's why she's not here. I think she's probably fast asleep, hopefully. And to be honest, she's the proper star coordinator of our SIG. I'm just an old LAMSIG face, been involved for quite a few years. But it's great to welcome you along to our first webinar, our first event for 2025. And I just want to say a couple of things, I suppose, about what we're aiming to do on the SIG. We're the Leadership and Management SIG. And really, we want to try to help build a community of managers and leaders who together can come and connect and develop, share ideas, make each other feel like, you know, we're not alone in this. We have other people facing similar issues, similar challenges, people who might help with ideas, solutions, give us inspiration, or perhaps point us towards useful resources where we can go and explore ourselves. So that's really what we're trying to do. Of course, each year we have the actual conference, and last year in Brighton, I don't know if any of you were there, we had a great pre-conference training day on teacher recruitment and retention. And this coming year in Edinburgh, in April, we have a fantastic training day ahead. There's always one day before the start of the proper conference, the PCE. And this year, as the slide is showing us there, we've got a session looking at our management fears. So those things which we kind of know we've got to do, but sort of, we always put them off. Perhaps we're afraid of how we're going to deal with them. So yeah, we've got a great lineup of speakers looking at sort of areas like managing ourselves, managing our school, and managing others. Those are sort of very broadly what the day will be looking at. And of course, we also have a showcase day at the conference where we have a day of different speakers all looking at different areas of management and leadership problems and factors and solutions. So it's great to see you all. I'm going to pass back to Özlem in a moment, and thank you to the committee as well. I just want to say we've grown this year since our last smaller size committee when we were in Brighton. Got a fantastic group of people now. We're all volunteers, by the way, but this team at the moment super active, and this first event is a big credit to our events team. And also big shout out to our social media team. Lucy's here, I can see perhaps some of the others. That explosion of social media you might be seeing is down to them. So thank you to them. And over to Özlem to get started proper. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Josh.
Well, as Josh mentioned today, as we step into the new year, which is in fact 1 month is already over, but we thought that it's a great time for us to reflect on our leadership and management practices. So that's why, as the events committee, we try to give, in fact, this chance to you all to have a platform where we could discuss our leadership and management resolutions for the new year and how, in fact, we can address them and what ways or what platforms or tools would be most effective to use to address that. So hopefully this will be an interaction session where you could benefit from different ideas, tools, but also benefit from the experiences of all, where you'll be hopefully discussing and sharing ideas. So thank you very much once again for being with us today. And as you might know, with this in mind, maybe you have seen on our social media platforms where Lucy shared a lot. Our committee members also shared their New Year's resolutions, leadership and management resolutions, which ranged from delegating more, cultivating well-being, time management, effective time management skills, stop giving answers to people, but rather getting the solutions, instead of providing solutions for them, or using effective coaching techniques to encourage agency. So there were a variety of resolutions shared by our committee members, and Josh's resolution being better at report writing. So that's why we thought it would be great to also discuss resolutions for leaders and managers like you, or those who would like to be leaders and managers like you from around the world. But because we see that it's very, in fact, important for effective leadership, because as the LAMSIG group, we really appreciate the importance of it. And also in the literature, as you know, effective leadership is discussed a lot, and it's really connected closely to employee engagement and motivation. So that's why when, of course, people are more engaged and more motivated, this creates a culture in the workplace where everybody is committed to learning and developing, and this indeed drives performance both for individuals themselves and also for the institution. So that's why it's quite important at an individual and organization level as well. And obviously, when this is achieved, change management efforts become even more successful, and overall, this increases quality in the workplace and ensures as well quality in the workplace. So that's why we thought that, being a very important topic itself, the role of leaders and managers is the key here to execute effective leadership. So when we have a look at why it is important, in fact, we see a growing emphasis on leadership development, because now there's considerable amount of research done, or in the literature, experts refer to this a lot, that since we lead others as managers or leaders, it's also important that this individual work and growth is also made part of the process of development. And as people who inspire, in fact, others, our own growth and our own development is quite key to have an effective leadership practice in our workplaces. And also, of course, that determines our capacity to lead. So having said this, when we have a look at the skills that are required to execute effective leadership, in fact, the role here given to us is quite maybe challenging, but also very important. When you have a look at and reflect on this, in fact, the skills and behaviors that are required for effective leadership, What kind of skills and behaviors would you come up with when you reflect on it? Could you please maybe use your experience, but also your ideas and reflection? Could you please use this link? I will also share this on the chat box, but you can also get help from this QR code and take a note of 2 or 3 skills or behaviors that would be necessary to be an effective leader and manager. And I hope the QR code works well. If you can't access to the Mentimeter, you can also jot down your ideas on the chat box as well if you wish. Seems we have quite a lot of
Answers.
skills and behaviors listed here. So let's go over them if you like together. Can you see my screen well, by the way, for Mentimeter? Yes, okay. So we have a variety here in terms of like communication, empathy, and the recurring ones like being a good communicator, having a growth mindset, which I'm quite interested in. Self-awareness, self-assurance, humbleness, effective listening, patience. Justice is an interesting one. Clear vision and mission. This is key to our workshop today as well, because we will be talking a lot about professional development and goal setting as well. A big picture mentality. That's a good one. So as well, there is a good variety in terms of people skills, personal qualities, some managerial or administrative roles and responsibilities. So as you see, it's indeed not an easy job to do for us, quite a challenging one, but it's also, as we mentioned, quite important to develop these skills. That's why leaders' professional development is also one of the key points of running effective leadership indeed. Thank you very much for sharing your ideas. And in fact, we would like to share a few from a few skills or different behaviors from literature as well, but this is quite linked to what you put down on our link as well, like effective communication or being a communicator. And as you see, well, indeed, we have some kind of, leaders or managers have some kind of managerial or administrative responsibilities, but also they're in constant interaction and communication with other people that they lead or manage. So that's why it also requires quite a lot of personal qualities or interpersonal skills, like being a mentor to other people, motivator, building their own capacities, but also others, and empowering them, and being, when needed, the necessary role model for them. So it requires a lot of different areas to focus on. And in another research and literature, this also has been divided into two different parts, including interpersonal abilities, which are related to, again, communication and empathy with others, as you mentioned, but also intellectual skills, like being involved in decision-making, strategic thinking, and problem solving or wise judgment, etc. So this gives us an idea about different qualities that leaders or managers need to develop indeed for effective leadership. So having said that, thinking about effective leadership, thinking about your own skills as leaders and managers, but also your context and your own challenges and realities in your own context as a leader or manager, your variety of roles, etc. So what kind of, do you think, skills would you like to focus on in the new year ahead? Or what kind of behaviors would you like to focus on? So we would like to ask you for your New Year's resolutions now, thinking about the interplay between effective leadership, the skills required, and also the roles and responsibilities you have in your own context. So we will now ask you to think about your own goals and resolutions for effective leadership and management in the new year ahead. And once you think about it, we will ask you to discuss that with your colleagues in the breakout rooms for a while, and we will go over them. And while setting up the breakout rooms, maybe if you didn't have the chance to think about that before coming to the workshop today, this will give you the chance to do so individually. And if you're ready, I will open the breakout rooms now. And you will have a chance to discuss with your colleagues in a few minutes. We will come back. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you very much for sharing your ideas and discussing your resolutions with each other. Is there anything interesting that you heard from your colleagues and would like to share here, or anything maybe that you found really something that you could also apply and identify as your resolution? So please feel free to share them aloud if you want to.
Maybe you can use the chat if you feel uncomfortable to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I could share briefly the couple of topics in our little breakout room revolved around the area of motivating others and working with colleagues where certain conditions and environment, present challenges to everyone, and how can you sort of work towards a point where people are really they want to contribute, they want to sort of perhaps go the extra mile, that kind of thing. So motivation was one area we touched on, and the other was around delegation specifically, but that sort of then spilled over into just time management and prioritization and strategic thinking versus kind of day-to-day firefighting. And they were familiar to us all when in our little breakout room, and
Thank you very much.
perhaps to others here.
Yes. Anyone else would like to share?
In ours, we have two complete different views, because someone who is starting her new company, Elisa, and someone who has a lot of experience from Portugal. She was originally based in London, and now she is leading something connected with AI, a company, an app, who is trying to, her New Year's resolution is trying to follow all the team to follow a line, the same idea, to be on the same page.
Thank you very much, Mariana. All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing and discussing. When you think about your own resolutions and also the ones that you heard from your colleagues here in the breakout rooms, what kind of ways would help you to address those resolutions or to achieve your goals in the new year? What kind of professional development activities do you think would be helpful for you? Can you please share your different tools or activities that you can benefit from on the chat box, if you will?
Reflection and evaluation of current practice. Josh. Learning from experienced professional leaders in the field. And Jennifer says, I recently used AI to create a timetable based on my vision of how much time each type of job I had or should take and be allowed in my timetable. It was pretty helpful until I drop out. And maybe you can explain later why. Looking at case studies, management journals, support from other teachers, how to shift the dynamic of observations to make them seen as more supportive than critical.
this AI integration seems quite interesting because
Yes.
help a lot with time management, I guess, which most leaders or managers find challenging. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, as you mentioned here, both knowledge and reflection, and also getting support from our colleagues or other people around us is they're all really valuable for our professional development. And when we thought about different ways of such professional development activities, we also come up with a kind of a framework for professional development that we would like to share with you. And as you mentioned, some of these sometimes help us to build knowledge indeed. And this can include formal education or getting training about a specific area that you'd like to focus on, or doing some literature review, reading and research, and attending some professional development activities to get further knowledge from other like-minded professionals. But also there are other ways, like applying things in our own daily jobs and workplace, like applying something we learn in our practice and reflecting on it later on. And of course, reflection is always part of development. That's why there are many different ways of doing reflection, including keeping journals, getting support from your mentors or feedback from your managers, line managers, and also doing your own self-assessment tools. And the directed conversations here indeed refers to having focused conversations with somebody else around you, maybe another leader or manager, or your colleagues or team members, or your own managers, if there are any. But identifying a specific area to work on and having a focused conversation about it to address that need or to achieve that goal of yours. So we thought that, as you said, as managers in the breakout rooms, there were people talking about the challenges of leadership and management as well, and there are many, many out there. So that's why, in fact, finding a more focused way of addressing your goal and also identifying your goal, first of all, is quite important in terms of helping you achieve that goal that you set for yourself. So that's why in this workshop, in the next part, we will also focus on goal setting a little bit, because, well, it's proven that indeed, when you have a focused attention on your goals and set them, and also that are meaningful to you, there's more increased interest in your work. It reduces boredom, and it also helps to achieve the challenges maybe in a more manageable way. And in the end, of course, it helps to develop skills and improve the qualities. And also having this focused attention to your goals increase your own motivation among the many challenges that you have as a leader or manager. Since this is the case, in this next part of our workshop, we would like you to focus on indeed your resolutions that you discussed in the breakout rooms or set for yourself for the new year, so that this can also give you a chance to reflect on your own performance, leadership skills development, so that it can help you meaningfully perform better as a leader or manager as well. Because as it's said in the literature, like Griffin and Moorhead, for example, state that getting support is important, but equally important is committing your own energy and yourself into this process as well, and accepting your goal as a leader. And in the end, then that increases motivation, but also makes you feel more satisfied with your goal setting and achieving journey. So maybe you have heard different qualities of a good goal. And you will see a few acronyms here, which are given by a goal setting expert as the good qualities of a goal. Have you heard of PURE before? Probably you have heard of SMART goals. That's the most common one we hear around. And there's also this CLEAR ones. And when you have a look at them separately, you see PURE refers to positively stated, understood, relevant, and ethical. And SMART, you would know, maybe you might want to tell aloud or write down in the chat box if you wish. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. And the CLEAR one is challenging, legal, environmental, safe, appropriate, and recorded. Recorded meaning more like written down and somehow keeping a record of it. That was interesting to me, seeing that goals also include this E letter here, environmental friendly one, which would be even more important maybe with the sustainable development goals as well we are discussing nowadays. And so bit more gives more details about good qualities of a goal. If you want to read more about it, you can refer to that resource as well. We will provide you with later on. But overall, we would like to appreciate this 8-step or 8 components of effective goal setting from many different resources and literature. We have come to the conclusion that when goals are SMART, written, visualized, challenging, analyzed for potential problems, and regularly reviewed, and there's feedback received on how you progress, but these 7 of them, including even more, when it's more meaningful to you, then it makes also it becomes even more motivating for you. So finding your purpose and finding why it will be meaningful for you is as equally important as setting the goal itself as well, so it can yield rewards for you. So considering these 8 components of effective goal setting, we would like you to provide you with one of our committee members' resolution and a sample action plan for her goal. In fact, our committee member, Martina, stated that for her leadership resolution for the new year, she wanted to focus on managing difficult conversations. And we have come up with an action plan for her resolution. And in the sample action plan, we will share with you now, we would like you to analyze the action plan and think about these 8 components and think about and reflect on whether these 8 components are reflected on the action plan, or if you think some of them or not all of them maybe are not reflected, what could be added more to the action plan and what would make the action plan even more effective. You might need to take a screenshot of these 8 components maybe, because when you go into the breakout rooms, you will probably need that. And also, this is the action plan for our colleagues' resolution. I will also put this as a document on the chat box. You can download it and analyze it separately as well. Or you can take a screenshot if you wish. So when you're ready, again, in the breakout rooms, could you please discuss this action plan and see what kind of suggestions would you like to make to improve it more when you compare it against the 8 components of an effective goal. So let me stop sharing here. And I will also share the sample with you on the chat box if you would like to download it. And this time, because of some time constraints, we would like to give you a little bit less time in the breakout rooms to discuss. And then we will get your suggestions when we come back. Could you all download the document or take a screenshot? That's great. So then over to you. Thank you very much for sharing your ideas and discussing the sample action plan. So anything that you realized that needs to be improved in the action plan when you compare it against the 8 components? Would you like to share anything that you observed?
In ours, feedback was very important.
Mm.
They center on feedback, on feedback. That's the main idea of our breakout room.
Thank you, Mariana. Sorry, yes, please.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say we procrastinated a little bit and it didn't actually like cover the subject given. So sorry.
Okay, well, after the session, Jennifer, you will have time to delve into it more, I guess. So thank you. In one of the breakout rooms, I heard somebody talking about the time frame. Maybe it's not clear or it's not set. But there was a discussion going on that there's a mention of 2 months as well. So there was some kind of discussion going on about the time frame. So any suggestions that you would give to our colleague Martina to improve it? Do you think it's visualized, by the way? We are not sure, but maybe Martina visualized it herself, of course, but
Yeah, well, I mean, in our little group, we thought maybe, that she's asked some questions and she's come up with some possible answers, in the first 3 columns, building knowledge application. So, I mean, I suppose it maybe depends what we all want to understand from visualization. But yeah, I think that sort of did it for me in that aspect.
Thank you, Josh. Yes, thank you very much. Well, in fact, now that was kind of a framework put on the sample action plan. So we will provide you with the same action plan template in a blank format this way with the guidance questions. And when you think about your own leadership resolutions for the new year ahead, what kind of action plan would you like to put for yourself? So on the chat box now, you will see the document which gives you, this will be a Word document this time, so if you would like to type up, you can easily. And this time we would ask you to consider your own resolution, but time won't be enough to look at it in detail with all areas and aspects. So if you could just focus on whether your resolution is a smart one and whether you can put a tick for all the smart letters and acronym, let's say, and maybe you can focus on the potential problems and challenges or solutions for those. If you can think about that, hopefully after the session, you will have more time to reflect on your action plan further. But if you can download the document, that's there. And I will also share the PowerPoint again with the sample action plan. So if you want to take a screenshot, you can do that as well. So can you please take a look at and reflect on your own resolution? Sorry. And as you're reflecting on it, if you'd like to share your own ideas on the chat box, please feel free to do so. So that can also give ideas to other people as well. Or please feel free to share it out loud if you wish. Does everybody think your resolution or goal is smart? Or do you think you can, or you need to make adaptations to make it smarter?
We have an answer. It says mine needs to be more specific from Jennifer.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Mine needs work on how I am going to measure it. From Ann Collins. Petra says, I need more resources to reach my goal. This is a good chance to think about all these aspects.
Ian, in terms of measurement, do you mean like key milestones to measure your progress, or is it about measuring your goal itself?
Yeah, it's about measuring the goal, because mine's a kind of behavioral goal, like being more tolerant and human. And so, trying to measure that is going to be difficult. I might have to think about the outcome rather than the actual behavior to measure that.
Yes. Thank you very much for sharing. There's also another one.
Another one, yeah. I'm also an director of pedagogy at the language school here in Algeria. I'm brought to the position without actual training, which I believe that the case for most managers. What could be your advice for me to fully explore my role? Note that this position isn't common in my context. Sorry.
Well, indeed, that's a good question, I think, because yes, as you mentioned, maybe this is what most managers find themselves in when they take the step into management. So that's why generally they learn while also doing the job itself. So learning and doing it goes together. But maybe what we would suggest as LAMSIG is finding or making use of this. Oops, sorry, that will be a little bit hard. Making use of this 3-cycle framework identifying what you need to do, or what you need to, in fact, what you need indeed. Do you need building your knowledge? Do you need more practice, or do you need reflection and getting feedback? And based on that identification, that might help to set a way or find a way through what kind of tools or activities you would be needing to engage in. So maybe a more focused identification of the needs here would be helpful, and also finding your way according to that. Thank you very much for sharing your ideas and goals. We are aware that, of course, this time is not enough to reflect on and come up with an thorough action plan. But we believe that this will be the starting point, and being in this workshop, and hopefully you will have more time to reflect on and continue with your action plans and finding the deficiencies or finding the options that you have. And hopefully among the challenges, address your goals or achieve your goals in the most effective and efficient way possible. So overall, we would like to conclude our workshop stating that, well, in fact, this is the model that is used a lot in business settings. And the GROW model is provided by, especially it is indeed stated as it's Jones Whitmore's model, but basically what it delves into is identifying your goal, but at the same time finding your purpose in it. And once you do that, examining your realities and your own context, and within the context, exploring what kind of options you have, and establishing your will accordingly and your way forward and action plans accordingly. This is proven to be quite helpful to achieve better leader professional development and better achievement of the goals that you set for yourself. So we provide, or we suggest that maybe delving more into this growth model would be beneficial. And of course, we would like to suggest some of the resources that we referred to during this workshop, and some, if you'd like to build knowledge more about managing organizations and goal setting, these are the 2 books that you can refer to. Or if you're into reading, not reading, but listening to something, especially podcasts, one of the recent ones that can be found on Spotify, if you have, is Brené Brown and Simon Sinek's discussion on leadership, where Simon Sinek says, you can't give what you don't have. So that's why taking care of ourselves as leaders and managers, and taking care of our own growth is quite essential in helping us execute effective leadership and also leading others in the best way possible. And of course, IETFL LAMSIG is also another platform where you can access a lot of resources on the website if you need. And if you become a member, you can reach out to different resources, different also articles, the newsletter. And of course, when you have such platforms as seminars, webinars, and workshops, either face-to-face or online, that also gives you the chance for, networking with professionals to learn from outside your own context. And, well, last but not least, we would also once more mention the upcoming LAMSIG events. One is the pre-conference event and the IETFL conference coming up. And the next one is our next webinar in February, where we will be talking about moving into ELT management and dealing with common issues that may also address the question that we looked at earlier and give you ideas about that as well. And The QR code here will take you to a resource pack which gives different links and also different references to different books and articles. So after this workshop, if you'd like to delve more into leadership, professional development, and effective goal setting, you can also benefit from those. And if you can't access to the resources through this QR code, please let me know. I can also put the link maybe, or we can also send the link later on our LAMSIG resources page. So that's all from us indeed. Thank you very much for participating in our workshop today and for discussing your ideas with each other, and also for your input, which made it even more meaningful for us. And we would like to see you all in our upcoming events as well. Josh, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I'd like to say a big thank you to you, Özlem. That was great workshop, really well informed and really well put together. So a big thank you, I think, from me, and I hope everyone would join me in saying thank you to Özlem. And yeah, big thank you to everyone who you know who attended and carved out some time to be with us this afternoon. Great to have you along at our first event of the year. And well, should we finish with a quick camera on selfie? Can we do that? Just, I'm sure Lucy and the social media team would love a bit of a webinar selfie. Can we do that? Anyone got camera? Any more cameras? I'm going to do a print screen. Lucy could do it. We could do a wave. Thank you very much. Sorry for that cringy moment. But you know, we've got to get it all out there. Great to see you all. And thank you very much.
See you.
See you at the next one.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.